Before we draw to know who will organize the next European Congress, I would like to have a couple of feedback from the room about the talks that took place, maybe about your expectations as well for future organizers, for future actions, things we could define to work together. Could people give their feedback? Before you leave, you will have a survey to fill in, and you will have that question asked to you. Does anyone want to share their mind about that? I'm not saying that I want to organize the next Congress, but I want to say a good job for the organization, because you did a great job. Timing is very well respected, so it's perfect. And I wanted to say that in November there was a Congress organized by Onema on Lake. It was also the first Congress they organized. So I don't know, maybe they will... you could ask them, see if you could organize maybe a partnership with them. They didn't know if they were going to do it again. I know there were a lot of people in the room, so maybe it would be interesting to chat with them. So I keep the floor. As far as I speak in the name of the Conservatoire du Littoral, but the Lake Division, we have organized our first Congress in Annecy a few years ago, and we wanted to have a new one. So I think there is an opportunity here. Maybe you could seize that. Again, I'm not a decision-making person, but I'm just putting it out there. But maybe we could organize something. We work on all the major lakes in France, and we could have this uniting role to play. I think we looked into this Congress you're mentioning, but for us, we thought it was about land acquisition, for instance, focused more on that. Yes, maybe that's where you could discuss with the conservatory and ask them to work with you. I don't think we would only be talking about land acquisition. I think it's also about management and works. So. Anyone else want to say anything? I'm not part of the hierarchy, but I understand that the next Congress is planned for 2018 in the reservoir lake of the Seine. And I was there at the Annecy Congress a few years ago, and I was also there at the Aix-en-Provence Congress. I think there is a balance to be found to create links, connect managers, scientists, to create a network and to open up to the European colleagues. I think that would be very interesting and could really add value to what we do. So maybe let's try and work together to unite and federate all of our ideas. There are two other suggestions, if I may. The law university in Nantes organized 6 months ago a congress on the law and environment. How will the law adapt to the environment? It was a transdisciplinary congress. It was mentioned by the land acquisition people, and we also had a discussion about the way we could work closer together with macroeconomic considerations. So should we bring the ecosystems and bring them, look at them into and their financial aspects? It's just a suggestion. In 2002, sorry, there was a congress that was organized on Alps lakes about water levels, water flows, and there were not a lot of examples about shallow lakes. And we didn't really talk about shallow lakes at that time, but I'm surprised that currently this topic of water levels and the impact of water levels on the functioning of topics was not really mentioned. We talked a lot about policies on watersheds, about hydraulic works on the watersheds, but we didn't really talk about the water levels on other lakes, which we know that in Grand-Lieu it is a key element in the evolution of the ecosystem, but it was silenced. It is something that we could maybe look into about 20 years after the Annecy Congress that was in 2002. Thank you. That was about my conclusion. So it's the end of our 2 first days of talks. Some of you will have the opportunity to visit the Maison du Lac tomorrow, part of the Grand-Lieu Lake and their hydraulic network. Some of you could not stay longer, but they will probably have the opportunity to visit it another time. First of all, I wanted to thank you for the high quality of talks that we heard, presentations that generated plenty of talks. Thank you for your very relevant questions. Thanks a lot to our interpreters, and we thank you as well who helped us understanding the conferences. Yesterday we were able to talk about the French lakes. Today we talked about the European ones, and this afternoon we talked about awareness raising and the different centers. We were also able to confirm once again the interest we have in talking and sharing about our experience. We also hope that your expectations have been met and that you were able to network properly. One of the objectives that was set for the idea was to create links and synergies between the different partners to strengthen the European network of lakes. And here in this last panel, you have helped us find new ways, and you have also helped us trying to find new ways for us to work on scientific aspects or diversification. I think there are ways to margin for improvement. I believe that we have met our expectations. There are links. I also think that some of you are still interested in strengthening this networking that started here. We will send you the list of attendees with their emails, so that everybody could continue chatting. If you don't want your email to be sent out to everyone, tell me. But otherwise, we will send everybody's emails to everyone so that you can continue exchanging. The latest comments that were made about Alps lakes conservatory proposal, I heard that we should strengthen our connection with the international organization about basins, and maybe try to find ways to work with the WLI from Chris Froston. I think that most of you will want to work following on their own ways, thanks to this Congress. Now, in a more operational way, even if animating a network is complicated, and we don't want to stop here, and I think it's what I've heard from you all. In 2013, an extranet tool had been set up, but remained quiet following the previous seminar in Hungary. And together with the union, the association of the Grand-Lieu watershed, together with Aurélie, we're going to revive it to be able for us to exchange information and data. I think that we will also come up with proposals in the coming weeks for communication tools, that could be a good way for us to follow up on these talks. I think that would be very interesting. And finally, we saw that the money is still a key issue when we want to roll out projects. So we are going to look into ways the European Union could help us funding projects. So without Chris, apparently. Few logistic comments. Tomorrow we meet at 9 here. 9:30? Is it 9:30? So it's 9:30, 9:30. So you can have more fun tonight. We will start with discovering walking to the Pavillon Garlin. Then we will go to the Pierre Aigu site to go and visit the lake with Jean-Marc Gillier, head of the National Reserve of Grand-Lieu. We will have lunch together at the Auberge du Pays de Ré, and then in the afternoon we will continue to our visit to discover the hydraulic network of the lake together with the person in charge of this hydraulic network. Have a safe trip back for those who are going home tonight. For those who want, you can stay here. Giacomo will give a conference tonight. It will be open for the general public on the theme around Italian lakes. And a quick announcement to conclude. In the La Maison du Lac team, we have 2 interns that are just about to finish their internship. Morgan, who just graduated at the beginning of the week as a trainer for environmental educational. If you want someone, you have someone who is looking for a job, and Mariana Soleil, who really helped Audrey and the whole team organizing this congress. She was really committed. She speaks 4 languages, and she's looking for a mission in the international and environment sector. So I can recommend them. Thanks a lot, and enjoy the end of the day. Bye-bye.